What's up, everybody?
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Tug of More.
So glad that you guys are here hanging out with us. It's just a conversation between two good old buddies.
Good friends. That's right.
Good friends.
Where we are, where we want to be.
Yeah. Because we all in our minds, like deep in our hearts, we know that God has more for us.
That's
we
true.
know that there's something up there in the future, but we're living in the now. And so sometimes that can be frustrated and it can lead to a tension, a tug, and a pull. And that's what we call
the Tug of More.
the tug of more.
Yep.
So we talk about it. We
Yep.
talk about all kind of stuff here.
All the things.
We talk leadership concepts.
Yep.
We talk Bible stuff.
Yep.
And then we just tell some crazy stories every once in a while.
Ridiculous stories of things that people come up to me in the lobby at church and be like, hey, whenever you, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, you talked about that on Tug of More. And I'm like, oh, because I'm like, how do they know that about my life?
Yes. Yeah.
But then it's because I talked about it here.
Have you had any crazy stories recently?
Recently?
I had one.
I have a crazy one.
Oh,
But
go. No. My stories always beat yours, so I want you to beat me.
You're right, but also that's so.
Well, no, I'm sorry. I'm
My
sorry.
stories are always better than
No,
yours.
that's sorry. I embellish my stories
okay.
up to a degree of chaos.
So we.
Let's see. So I don't have any idea what her story is. We're gonna see which
You know
one
it, but
is
only
better.
barely. So. We have been in a time of prayer together with our leadership and staff team, and so Friday night we went and had a final prayer night together.
Prayer and fasting.
And then
for 31 days because it's going to be May.
That's right. And then we had ice cream afterwards. It's like this wonderful time, like community, hanging out together, praying together, singing, worshiping God together, eating ice cream together. And so then afterward, because this is like the breaking of the fast, my kids have not eaten out at a restaurant since then, gone to a fast food place or whatever. So they were like, we want to get Raising Cane's because that's their place. And so we go by Cane's. We're like, yes, it's such a great night. We go home to our house. And I've already told you guys on another episode that we have this termite situation happening.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And they came, they did the I don't know, what do you call it?
The bug guy?
Termite people.
The bug man?
And he said what they do is they put the poison in the walls and then takes it to the queen. So I guess it's kind of like bees, but I don't know.
That's good for you.
And yeah,
Poison
super
the
great.
walls.
Exactly. He says it's not
Healthy.
harmful to people, but you never know. And so I'll probably have a growth in a year or
Whitney's
two.
getting a goiter for sure.
and so we it's so ridiculous. But anyway, so they come, and of course it's raining. It has rained here more than do we live in Seattle? Where do we live?
Texas either rains zero
Right.
and everyone freaks out it's a drought, or it washes us away.
There's no just balance.
And
so
it's humid today, like a mug.
Yes, so it's been raining, so they couldn't do the outside stuff. But then they came back that Friday morning. That was the day they were supposed to do all the exterior stuff, but because it was raining, they couldn't. But they went ahead and gave us another infusion of chemicals or something into our walls. And so our laundry room, we come in the house from Raising Cane's.
It's quite the setup here.
And I might be able, I think we have a video that I can plug in and you can see. I've never seen this many in my entire life. I'm telling you, 1,000. I don't know how to guess the number. There are termites flying. I told you, are special.
I didn't know they fly.
These are special African termites that are rare and all of it. And he's
Is that what the guy said?
Yes, he's these are one of the rarest forms, and
I
they
don't believe
fly.
that.
All this crap. It's so ridiculous. It's the grossest, weirdest, most are we in a plague in Pharaoh in Egypt?
So you leave your house, there's no termites flying around.
None.
And then you
I
come
haven't
back
seen any.
after praying.
I haven't seen any.
And eating ice
in
cream.
2.5 weeks.
Okay.
And I come in, and I have never actually seen them alive. I've only ever seen them dead on the ground after they apparently came out of the walls.
Okay.
So apparently what happens is they get the I'm telling too much, but they get the chemical in them and then they freak out.
That's
is
what I
what
would do.
happens. And so they start flying around. They call it a swarm, and they freak out and swarm when they're about to die.
You walk in and what happens?
Thousands of termites are flying in our kitchen, in our laundry room, in the little hallway bathroom area. And my kids are actually the ones who go in first, and they're like, Mom, and they're yelling what is happening? And they're standing in the kitchen with just all of these bugs flying. It's the craziest, grossest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then my husband turns into Rambo, but for termites. And he has this spray that he bought at Home Depot. Who even knows if it's going to work? And he just starts spraying the crap out of all of these termites. The kids run outside the backyard. He is literally, you can tell he's so devastated. He's as a man, I don't know, because I'm not one, but as a man, this is one of his top 5 moments of what he would consider failure of father adult manhood in his whole life, that his family has walked into this
disgusting
situation, which, you know, I'm like, because I'm asking the guy, like, what could we have done to not have this? He's like, nothing. It's just Texas and termites.
So they shot the crap in the wall, and then they all left the wall.
They all freaked out, left the wall, and then they're flying all over. And so he's literally got our little, like,
dustbuster.
Yeah, whatever it's called, the little Dyson thing that, and he's like spraying them and sucking them up as it goes. And so he, I don't know, spends 30 minutes while we sit outside and eat Raising Cane's in the house, spraying them.
So Whitney goes and eats chicken. Aaron keeps cleaning the house.
100%.
Sounds about right.
I felt really horrible.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. At one point, I walked back in the house because I felt so bad. And he's got like a mask.
Aaron's got his shirt off, wraps it around his face.
A mask around his face, all these things. And I'm like, I walk in, I'm like, oh, like the chemical is so strong. And he's just in there, and I'm like, I'm sorry, babe.
So then what? There's just dead bug bodies all over the house?
Well, he sucked them all up, so they're gone. It's the craziest.
Aaron's the house cleaner. Let's just talk about it.
I told him if he ever left me or died or whatever, I don't know what would happen to our house.
You'd turn into hoarders.
Yeah, it would just be a disaster.
When you would just have a bunch of JCPenney's bags everywhere.
Yeah, I would just have to JCPenney's.
Too many shoes.
JCPenney's, of course. But like, yeah, so that's the craziest thing that happened to me probably in my whole life, but also recently.
Wow. All right. Well,
is your story going to top it?
No, you won.
I did it. I won.
Congratulations after 14 years of friendship. Okay. So the other Sunday, I get done preaching, and one of our volunteers, she comes up to me and she introduces this guy to me, and she says, Pastor Truston, do you recognize him? And there's this tall guy standing there. Oh. Tall. How tall was he? 6'5"?
6'5". Very tall.
Smiling at me. Just smiling. And he goes, it's me. And I'm telling you, I don't know who this dude is. Now, if you're watching, I'm sorry. But I'm about to tell a story about you. I think he said his name was Eric. And so he said, yeah, it's me. I grew up in your neighborhood. We went to McGrath Elementary School, and we graduated in the year 2000. So this guy I went to elementary school with.
And you don't know who he is.
And in my graduating class, we had all of our classes together. I've never seen this dude in my life. I don't recognize him at all. And he's standing there. I just got done preaching, and he's looking at me with this look on his face. No, you didn't get done
preaching. Tim preached.
Oh, Tim preached.
So you were in meeting and talking to all the people mode.
Oh, I'm in chill, relax mode.
Yeah, which is why it caught you more off guard.
And so I don't know what to do with this guy. And I have a volunteer here that I don't really know her that well either.
Oh,
She's
really?
new.
Oh,
She's like newer to the church.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of her and I's first
interaction.
Like
so you're
long-term interaction.
Like,
and so I'm trying.
Like douchey pastor.
But she's got like a more church shirt on, you know, the big red high shirt.
Oh no.
And it was super awkward. And so I didn't know like what he wanted. But he like drove here from Plano or something.
Julia and I are looking at each other because.
Why? What happened?
Because Julia had the church phone that weekend because she does like socials and stuff for us. And so she was doing one on the church phone. And she, it was on a Friday, right? Give me credit or something, or weekend. It was like sometime that we were not working in the office. And she gets a call from this guy. And she texts me and says, hey.
Guys, thanks for the heads up.
Guy,
first of all, thanks.
This is what happened.
Thanks for the heads up. Because I just apparently burned the emotions of another 40-year-old man.
This is what happens.
Who thought I was going to be thrilled.
I know.
Maybe he was a billionaire and I blew it.
Maybe, and it's all my fault because I didn't. So
if I was 6'5", I'd be a billionaire.
Julia says, hey, there's this guy. He says he grew up with Truston. He lives in like somewhere north.
Yeah.
And he's moving away. So here's the thing. He's lived here for like 5 years, but never come to see you.
No.
But then when he's moving away, decides he wants to come and say hi to you.
But he told me some story about how he was in, this is crazy, how he's in Michigan with his wife, visiting family, and he's driving past this house, and he loves the color of this house so much that before he flies out...
He told you the story too?
He told Julie this on the phone. Before he flies out, he goes and rings the doorbell of the stranger's house. You know who it is?
Who?
My aunt.
No.
My aunt. So... They meet. He has the color of the paint coat or something in the house, which is weird. Anyway, like, so you're already kind of a weird dude. Take a picture of the house. Ask the guy at Home Depot.
Yeah.
Okay. So my aunt, my son, my nephew. I'm moving to Texas. Oh, my nephew, he's a pastor in Texas. Oh, who's your nephew? Truston Baba. I know Truston Baba. I went to McGrath Elementary School at Truston Baba. I'm going to go and visit him. I'm sorry, dude. I didn't know who you were, and then I didn't get like a a placement. So he's standing there like I'm going to take him to lunch.
You are not a poker player, as we know.
I'm not.
You
listen.
literally cannot hide your thoughts from your face. And so what I'm mostly sad about is that I wasn't standing there.
No, because there's no
moment.
song and dance for this guy.
No.
All he's getting is my confused look. But words of I wish. Oh yeah. I kind of recognize you. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for
And
coming.
your face is like.
Yes. So he just kind of walked off sadly. Now I'm standing here with this new lady who's a volunteer, and I'm like, that was kind of weird, right? I didn't know him. And she was like, I didn't know him either. But he asked me to bring him up to you.
Oh no.
So your term art story wins.
Yeah.
But mine has some cringy weirdness.
And some fail because Julia nor I told you about it.
Guys,
We
tell
just
me.
forgot.
Well, then you're
because
kind
it was
of
like the weekend. I don't know what happened.
But then I don't recognize him at all.
Right.
But again, I haven't seen him for 20 years. And I'm kind of thinking like, am I about to get murdered? Like
he's a guy from Billy Madison. He's had your name on the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
He's gonna
Puts lipstick on it. Right?
Oh my God.
I'm like, why?
What?
I can't imagine that anybody that I don't really know well from high school would want to drive to see me now and believe I'm even a pastor.
But
if I wasn't your friend back then.
But maybe he thought he was your friend. This is the thing. We recently talked about like who we were as children
God.
growing up.
I don't know what story you're about to
No,
tell.
I'm not. I'm just saying.
I thought you were about to tell a story about how I had a girlfriend and didn't know it.
Oh, well, there you go. There's your sign. But like, because as young people, we were different types of people than we are now. And yeah, that's a great story. You did not realize that you were dating a girl multiple times, actually, that you were dating until she gave you a very meaningful gift.
I wasn't dating her. She was a friend of mine.
Did you go in your car and pick her up and take her places?
I was not dating this girl.
Did you ever pay for her food?
No, definitely not.
No?
No.
Did you somehow convince her to pay for your food?
Yeah. Yes. 100%. 20-year-old Truston, yes.
100%. So I'm just saying, it's likely that you somehow convinced this guy to also buy your pizza one day. And so he thought you were best friends, and then you don't remember.
Dude, I'm sorry, sir.
Or your 165 detentions, maybe he's one of your guys that like you did a prank on
I don't know, but
threw
now
his backpack out of the bus.
Now I don't even remember his name, and I want to look him up on social media. So at the end of the conversation, I say to him like, hey, so like, are we like Facebook friends? Send me a Facebook friend request. And he realized this man doesn't know who the junk that I am. And so he kind of just walked off sadly. Yeah, so thanks, guys.
Sorry, our bad.
Thank you, our
Here
team.
it is. I got it.
Don't say his name out here.
Oh, well, okay.
No, don't say it. I'm sorry if you're watching. I would love to.
Actually, it was on a Monday. Why did we not tell you? I don't know. Where were we?
I don't know.
We were going to tell you. Oh, it was the Monday we were off work. That's why.
Gave everybody the day off?
Yeah.
Equals Trusting with his foot in his mouth in the altar.
Yeah. Sorry. Our bad.
So I realized, apparently I make friends that I don't know I'm making friends with.
A good thing you just didn't marry any of those girls would not know that you married them.
Me and this girl, we were friends. We're friends. We hung out regularly in college, and she wanted to go and see the Christmas movie with the train and Tom Hanks.
Polar Express.
She wanted to go see Polar Express. So I was like, okay, I'll go see Polar Express.
Right.
Whatever. So we go see Polar Express. I don't think anything of it. That's in like December, right? Because right before Christmas it comes out. My birthday's January, middle of January.
January 15th, yeah.
For January, for my birthday, she gave me a little gift with 2 silver bells in it.
If you've not seen Polar Express, at the end, when the little children are in love, they have 2 silver bells.
So I'm opening this gift from my friend, and I'm realizing, like, oh, she's in love with me. And I don't even.
And I barely know her name.
Yeah, I know her name, but I have no interest.
I know. Whoops.
Okay, so those are some stories about our lives, I guess. What else? What else happening around here? We're getting ready for camp.
Getting ready to go to camp. That's true.
Father's Day's coming up. Mm-hmm. We have a guest speaker that's going to be speaking.
We have our friend Will coming. I'm excited. Well, he's going to be our camp speaker, but he's also coming to be our Sunday speaker this week.
We
so that's going to be fun.
very rarely have guest speakers.
Very rarely.
Literally, I think once a year for the last 8 years.
That's probably about right.
We've had John Bohr a couple times.
We've had our guy,
Michigan.
yeah.
I just forgot his name too.
What he's come before.
Handsome little guy.
I know, this is how terrible we are. But
no, we're not terrible.
We're not terrible.
I think that I would rather have voices in the house.
Absolutely.
Speak.
Peter.
And
Peter.
Peter
That's his
Reeves.
name, Peter Reeves.
Peter
We
Reeves,
love
shout
Peter.
out.
I just lost your brain. It's just a Monday.
It's a Monday. And I would rather have voices in the house preach and develop voices in the house.
Yeah. And we have a super unique church. Our people would prefer to hear people in our house rather than, they're not like a big name chasing type people.
Yeah,
It's
Whitney
not
gets
really
up and
thing.
preaches, and all of her buddies taking pictures and posting her
Whatever.
and talking and cheering her down. I don't preach. I don't get one tag.
Because you do this because you
Nobody
do it
tags
every
me.
week. That's
I don't get one
I tag
tag.
you.
Whitney, Rachel, and Brady tag me.
Yeah, there you go. No,
Julia.
it's just because it's just the.
It's like, well, I
yeah.
guess that wasn't good.
No,
I didn't get one
it's
quote.
Not true. Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. But yeah, so we're having our friend Will come, and he's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. I'm excited. And then we're going to camp, and then Father's Day, you said, and then we're doing something I'm super excited about. We're doing a next gen house party, which is kids and youth day, where we celebrate like what God did at camp for the kids. But then there's baptisms, there's testimonies, but it's all like student based, student run, and it's super fun.
Then it's my first week to preach this new series.
And I
We're
bet
doing-
everyone will take pictures and cheer and post. And
Nope,
yeah,
they're
they
all
will
gonna go
now
on
because we
vacation.
just talked about
They're all
it.
going to go on vacation.
Well, they
They're
all
gonna say,
are on vacation.
They're going to say, they're going to take my picture and say, oh, this guy again.
It's ridiculous. You're so ridiculous. Oh
Okay,
my word.
here's what
Okay.
we want to do. Our last episode that we did, we talked about the importance of values and
Yes.
the difference between just a vision and having values, and how values help you know how you do what you do. They are the recipe to the magic of what you're accomplishing. And lots of stuff can change. Guess what can change? The venue can change.
Right.
Just because the venue changes doesn't mean that the values change. And so we talked about how we needed to take some time to really walk through our values. And so we're going to start doing
That's
that.
why
So
I'm
we're
on
going to
my
do
phone
we're going to do a
because
series in the tug of war over
Yeah.
our values. And I told Whitney, I want you to pick one real time.
And
Pick
so
one.
I'm looking. Do you want it to be one of our church values or one of our staff values?
Oof.
Which
we
should
should probably
start
do
with?
church values, right?
Okay, let's start with our church values. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Oh gosh, I don't know.
You want to just read some off?
Yep. So we already know our top one. It's the most important one. Above all else, guard your heart.
Yep.
Your expectation affects your experience.
Ooh.
Believe there's more. Ask what's next. No such thing as just another Sunday. Party starters here and in heaven. All we are and all we have to reach all the people. House built on sons and daughters. Know each other, be known. Lead from the front row. We get to do this. Treat everyone like they're your someone. Which one you want to do?
I don't know. You want to start backwards? Should we do it opposite and start from the bottom?
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, here we
what
go.
is it?
Treat everyone like they're your someone. This is a good one.
Okay, here's the
It's
idea.
probably one of our least consistently quoted, but yet very important that we should probably start quoting more.
No, and I'm mad that I didn't pull it in to when I preached Phil Heaven.
Yeah.
Why
Dang
was I not taking that opportunity to drip that value?
Because like we said, we got so used to the values that we forgot that they're not so, like, we got to say them all the time. We started thinking, oh, everyone knows them. No, they don't.
Treat everyone
Treat everyone
like they're your someone.
like they're your someone.
Here's what it means. Let's say that you have a person that you want to invite to church, or you've been inviting, and they show up. It's their first Sunday. What are you feeling? You're a little nervous. Mm-hmm. Are they going to enjoy this? Are they going to connect? Is the music going to be good?
Are people going to be nice to them?
Yeah. Is Pastor Truston going to say something weird?
Maybe.
Like, is there going to be, are their kids going to enjoy it? Is the
Right.
toilet going to be clogged in the bathroom? Does the air conditioner going to work?
Right.
All of these pieces that we feel in our heart when we have a first-time
Yep.
guest. It's that same concern that we should have for every first-time guest.
Yeah. And
Treat everybody like they're your somebody.
Yeah. And I think that it translates even more than just like our first time guest, but it's just like we want we want everyone in our church, which is part of why we don't say it as much, because they do. Our people are incredible at connecting with people, especially first-time guest people, but all kinds of people, getting them plugged in. But it is such a value of how we do what we do. Have you ever gone somewhere? Remember recently we went to Chipotle and we were like, is she mad at us that we're ordering our food? Like,
yes.
Are you mad that you work here? But it's important that we understand, like, we don't know their story. I don't know whether they love Jesus or not. I don't know whether they had a bad day. I don't know whether you've known them for 100 years
right.
or whether you just invited them when you were at the grocery store. But I need to give them my best, because whenever I bring someone with me, I hope that you'll give them your best. It's kind of the whole, like, what is the golden rule? Treat others
do unto
how
others as you would have them do unto you.
It's kind of that.
Yeah.
But to a whole nother level of realizing that, like, it doesn't just take me to help someone have a great experience. It takes all of us. It takes a whole village. And so we have to treat everyone like they're someone. Yeah.
It's easy to go through the motions in ministry after you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
I can imagine that if you're in the kids department and you're serving in a kid's classroom, it can be easy to go through the motions, and here comes a kid and here's the mom, and you take the mom and go ahead, here's a sticker, and send the kid.
Check them in, do the
and,
thing.
And we shove people through the machine of ministry. But to them, they don't feel like a piece of the machine. They feel like a person deciding, do I feel safe here? Am I comfortable here? Am I going to keep coming back here? And so it's kind of intentionally putting on new lenses every day to see people in the moment.
Yeah.
Which I did a poor job seeing this guy. I mean, I did a poor job at meeting that. Now, he might think I was really nice to him, but I know what I wish I would have done to meet this guy. I should have met him and got his story and talked about his family and give him a building tour, give him a free t-shirt.
Right.
That's what I should have done.
Yeah.
But he wasn't my someone. And I didn't treat him like he was my someone.
That's really good. Sometimes we don't treat someone like they're our someone because we're too worried about our own selves and our own people and our own things. But yeah, we when we come into a room, like, especially I think about it, like, my family visits from out of town a lot. And so, like, when they come, my hope is that they can find a seat. My hope is that someone smiles at them. My hope is that they feel warmly greeted, because also this is my favorite place.
Right.
It's not just, I love them, yes, but I also love this place. And so I want those two things to come in hand together. And I think if we really could consider that as well, it would help us not go through just the motions. It's hard for me to not bring other values into the conversation.
We can.
No, I'm just saying, like, for me, like, the whole reason why we have to, like, we believe that there's no such thing as just another Sunday is because we want to treat everyone like you're someone. If I only give my best on Easter and Mother's Day and days that I know there's probably going to be a lot of first-time guests, and not on days like June 2nd that we just had, that is just a first Sunday where everyone's on vacation, then I am not going to be as intentional to treat everyone like they're my someone.
I'm going to take it a little down.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to help pull it back out.
Oh.
Because I'm about to tell a sad story.
Oh, okay.
That I think through in my brain sometime to add value when new people show up.
Okay.
So I had a cousin growing up that I was super close with that died of a drug overdose. Here, I'll just rip the sad Band-Aid off.
Yeah, that's good.
And so him and I grew up real close, grew up like brothers.
Yeah.
Family vacations and activities, always over at my house. And then I get a call to ministry. Well, it started before that. His mom and dad got divorced.
Yeah.
And after that, he kind of started making some negative life choices. Drugs, bad girlfriend, moved away from home, moved to California, all these things, arrests, all the stuff. And so he, it's a lot. So how do I condense the story? And so my aunt calls me one day and asks if he can come and live with me. Well, I'm not like in a position. I'm in college.
Right. I was going to say, you're a college student. It's not like you're a grown adult.
No, I'm like maybe 23.
Yeah.
Maybe a senior in college. I don't remember. And I'm like, I don't have like the capacity to help a drug addict to kind of like pull their life together.
Right.
And so I came home for Christmas, my maybe junior or senior year, and I scheduled a breakfast with him. And so he actually showed up, which I was
That's
super
good.
excited for. And I was going to like turn the screws and tell him all the things God loves you as a plan for your life and share the gospel with him and offer to help him in his rehab recovery.
Yeah.
And I kind of chickened out. I went to this breakfast and it's one of my biggest regrets in life. And dude, so many things. I felt ill-equipped because I had just done poorly in a Bible college course.
I didn't know that.
So I'm in Bible college and I'm not nailing it, right? I got put on probation because I was playing a bunch of pranks. I was playing too many pranks, goofing around, and I got put on probation while I was in school. And so I got passed over to preach campus days in chapel.
Oh, okay.
So campus days is when all the new students come and they let a student preach and you're supposed to really wow them. And they didn't ask me, they asked Robert Madu.
Oh, there you go.
And so, which good choice.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
yeah.
And so I'm feeling like not enough.
Yeah.
I feel like, man, I'm not even smart enough to answer those questions. And so because of all these insecurities and things in me, and I'm at lunch with this guy that I love and his life's falling apart and I don't know what to do, I just talked Jeeps with him.
Yeah.
He was a Jeep guy too. And so we just talked like basically nothing. And then I gave him the whole like, hey man, if you ever need anything, give me a call and then left. Well, I get a call a couple months later from my dad that he died of a drug overdose. He was at a party, took too much something, ran out, broke into someone's garage, and then died in this stranger's garage, hiding under a table. And it's like a really heavy regret for me. And so so his name was Nick, and he's my someone.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when a new person comes into the church, one of the lenses that I look through is this might be their last
opportunity.
Yeah. This might be a moment that is a big deal to them. And when I put Nick, like that moment on them, it makes me value what I'm doing. And so when I'm preaching on a Sunday and it's kind of weird to do salvation opportunity at the end because it doesn't really fit and I'm out of time, I do it anyways because it's somebody's Sunday.
Yeah.
Like I got to treat everybody. I got to treat all of them like they're my someone.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's super good.
Yeah.
Well, so taking it back up, you said something that's really good. You felt ill-equipped.
Right.
And I think sometimes we feel ill-equipped to be the someone or to be someone important for the someone because we're like, what if they ask me something I don't know the right answer to? What if they know something about me that I feel ashamed about? And they are like, who are you to try to love me and encourage me? But the truth is, all Nick needed, and like now I'm like, friend.
No. There's a lot
already,
there.
100%. But like what Nick needed in that moment was someone to be kind and loving and genuine, which you were 100%.
Right.
And what all anyone needs is someone to be kind and loving. We don't have to have it all figured out. We don't have to have, it's what we talked about talking about filling heaven. You don't have to have all the perfect responses, but being able to just be kind and genuine, look somebody in the eye and encourage them is all that someone needs. And so like, I can see that that's a huge reason why people don't treat people well is because they're just intimidated and just afraid they don't know how to do it.
Yeah, or we think that we're like, I was nervous with him that I wasn't going to have the right words.
Yeah.
But do you know what he didn't need from me? Words.
Right.
He needed to be loved and welcomed. And I probably, instead of me trying to preach him a message at breakfast, what would have been better is for me to call him every 2 weeks and talk to him about Jeeps.
Right.
Talk to him about nothing. That would have been more beneficial than me trying to have a planned 3-point sermon and altar call at a breakfast spot in Flint, Michigan.
Right.
And so for us on a Sunday or a Wednesday or wherever we're doing ministry in life, just treat people like this is a moment that matters.
Yeah.
Because it does.
Yeah, it does. You never know when it's someone. One, people are walking around. We don't have a clue what they're going through. We don't have a clue their story, what they're carrying, and then we don't know is this the last or the first opportunity or last opportunity that we're going to be able to connect or say hi or be kind? And yeah, I think if we really had the urgency to know this is an actual moment that we've been given an opportunity to have, then we might treat it with a little bit more respect. We take them for granted because we think, especially if you're serving on it, like you said, serving on a team, serving in an area, or just it's your literal job, you think, well, yeah, I see this every day, all the time. I'm going to have lots of opportunities. But for this specific person, you never know what opportunity. This week I met this little girl. She came up to me after church and was like, hey, can I give you a hug? And which is a weird, like, okay, but she's just a little girl. And I was like, sure. And so there was something about her that made me like, give her all of your attention.
Yeah.
Look this little girl in the face. Give her attention. Go see her mom. Meet her.
Oh, yeah. I saw you run around this little girl. I thought she was lost.
No,
but no, you were.
She just came up to me and was like, what I found out was that she had been wanting to go to church. She lives with her dad on the weekends, and she doesn't very often get to go with her mom to church. She would be with her mom at all on the weekends. Yeah. Her mom works at a hospital. And our people are doing an incredible job because she said when she was checking out a patient, they invited her to our church and said, hey, you got to come to our church. You would love it. You know, it's not far from here. She works up at the hospital.
You got to share that story somewhere.
Right here. Yeah.
I mean, I know you're sharing it here, but I mean.
Well, yeah. What
beautiful.
She said, though, which is incredible, is she said, I've been invited to church a bunch of times. A bunch of times. She said, but there was something that morning that I said,
it was the moment.
I need to go to church again.
Yeah.
And I need to take my daughter to church.
Wow.
And she said, in that day when that person handed me that invite, I was like, this is where I have to go.
Wow.
And so she showed up. And so, what an incredible moment to like hear that story.
Because God says he will draw all men unto himself.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit will beckon people. And so this was a moment and the right house.
Right. And the right
God
person to be
quickened
obedient
something
to invite.
in her.
Right.
Right.
And so they came. And so then I said to the mom, like, oh, she sat in service. And she said, yeah, she's the first time she was nervous. You know, she didn't know if she wanted to go to the kids' room or not. And so I had preached that day. So that's why she came to me. Is because she saw, oh, you're the lady that taught on stage.
Yeah.
So she wanted, to give me a hug. But then I said, well, have you met Pastor Tim? He's our kids pastor. Next time you should go to our kids' room. And so I took her over to meet Pastor Tim, and she had actually met Beth, Tim's wife, because Beth's amazing, and had already met the mom, just saying hi in the lobby. And so then she said, I went to meet the girl in the black shirt, which was McKinley, who was singing on stage. So we went and met her. And at the end, the mom was just like, thank you. I don't get the opportunity very often to have my daughter on the weekend, much less to bring her to church. I haven't always done it right, but thank you for the opportunity today. Yeah. And I have no idea if this lady will ever come back. Right. I have no idea if that, because when she met Tim, she said, I don't know if I'll get to come back because I'm usually with my dad. But who knows if she'll ever get to come back. But what I do know
for this mom,
this was a moment.
Was made.
Yeah. And for the daughter, maybe in 3 years, in 4 years, when someone else takes her to church, she'll remember, oh yeah, I went to church once. They were nice to me there. Yeah. And like, who knows? And so.
But you treated her like she was your literal sister.
Like she was somebody I knew.
Saw you run. Yeah. I thought when I saw you with this little girl, I thought this little girl's lost her mom. Yeah. This is why Whitney's holding her hand.
Well, you looked me in the eye and I was like, I'm good. Like, because we check on each other if you're, with somebody. And I was like, no, I'm good.
Unless you're with a 6'5" handsome friend from elementary school and nobody checks on me then.
I'm so sorry. But yeah, it just was this moment where I felt like I'm supposed to talk to her. And what's true is, there's lots of times when I don't. There's lots of times when I'm thinking, oh, I got to get to the next thing, or oh, I got to get over here, or oh, I got to go back to my office and get my coffee, whatever. But thankfully, that moment, I felt this like, oh, spend some time with this lady. And so I got to hear her story, and then also she got to encourage me. And I think that's something we forget sometimes in our busyness is that like we want to treat them like they're our someone, but also in doing that, it's not just taking from us. It's actually giving back to us to be able to see, oh, God purposely puts us in places and spaces with people
really good.
So that he can connect to them, connect us to each other, all the things. And so, man, why not? I think that can be a thing. Like, no, I'm busy. I don't have time right now. I've heard a couple of people be like, I'm waiting, I'm praying and for God to tell me it's the right moment to step in and serve. And I'm like, no. All people, he's given us this opportunity. We can all treat someone like they're someone. We don't need to wait for the right moment.
So we talked about the kind of broken life's falling apart. We talked about the person that's kind of just seeking and gets an invite and they're just a general first-time guest. A lens that I look through also is my mom and dad. So I remember when my mom and dad moved from Michigan to Texas, and they're older than I am. Obviously, they're my parents, and so they're trying to reassimilate into a community. They're trying to make friends, and I remember how that was a journey for them to feel a part. They're the pastor's mom and dad,
right?
And they still kind of had a hard time in the beginning finding their
rhythm.
spot.
Yeah.
And now that we're in this new building, we live next to, or our building's right here next to Lake Arlington. And so we've got a lot of people that live in these homes kind of off the lake, and they'll come in and I'll see them and they'll be in their mid 50s, early 60s. And I can tell that they're kind of like checking us out.
Do I fit here?
Do I fit here? Because it's a very different vibe than maybe the Baptist church or Catholic church they used to go to.
Yeah.
And it's a little young. And so they're trying to figure that whole thing out. And I meet them weekly.
Yeah.
And I do my best to see them through the lens of people that are trying to acclimate into a new community.
It's really good.
And so I try to treat them like I would my mom and dad.
Yeah. It's really good.
Or we had Dave and Mary.
Yeah.
Some of our missionaries that we support, they were just here and did a spot in service. And we gave them the grand tour and spent real time with them. And Aaron ran them around and showed them all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I meet these new people and I think, treat them like your mom and dad. Treat them like Dave and Mary.
Yeah.
Give this lady, and I'm not spending an hour with her, but give her a good 3 minutes of like real engagement. Remember her name next Sunday. Treat everybody like they're your somebody.
It's really good because I'm thinking about it. Like when Aaron and I moved here years ago, we went to we tried a bunch of churches before we figured out where was the right fit. And the truth was we loved God. Like we loved church, all these things. And, I'm saying it now, it sounds funny, but like we were actually gems for anybody who wanted us to be a part of their church.
Right. You guys would be a gift for whatever church you showed up to.
Yeah. And we didn't carry ourselves like that. That's not what I mean. But I remember there were certain places where I walked in feeling like, does anyone want to say hi? Does anyone even want to know us? Or, or there were other places where we were so warmly greeted. It was like, wow, this is amazing. We had just left family, left everything we knew, needed a new place and space of community. And being able to be just genuinely, Rachel's the first person I met here when we went to just an interest meeting for our church before it was even started. And the way she treated me, but also the way she treated my kids, was a huge piece of why I was like, oh, I love this lady.
Right.
She saw me, but then she didn't just see me and think, oh, this lady could whatever. She was intentional to...
They look like potential givers.
Right.
Let's connect to them.
Yeah, she literally just was genuine and genuine to my children, got down on their level, looked them in the eye. And I think those are just these basic human kindness that we, because of the world we live in, we don't extend to each other anymore. But yet, what great friendship we got out of that.
Yeah.
What great opportunity to do life together. And now, what great ministry we've also been able to do out of it. But we had no idea in the very beginning. But just that kindness alone is like, I look back every year in July where I get like the notification of the Facebook message that she sent me that night. And like the intentionality to just be like, hey, it was really nice to meet you. I hope that y'all stick around. If you don't, blessings on your family. No big deal. Whatever. She was just intentional to just give 3 minutes to like say, hey, it was cool to get to connect to you. Hope we get to connect again. And literally for our family was change the trajectory of our whole lives, that you never know what just one little act of kindness will do.
I got a dad win.
Okay.
On this idea.
Yeah,
Treat everybody like they're somebody. So our kids are getting ready to go to camp.
Yes.
And so Titus has some friends that are going to camp. Now they go to the church, but it's these boys' first time to go. And they're signed up and paid and all the things. Well, the little boys, it's 2 of them, they started to get nervous. They started to talk to each other about how they kind of don't want to go. And they heard a story about the zip line and somebody fell off a zip line and, it get turned into like, they're going to make you go down the zip line and you're going to die. And like, you know how kids are. And the food is gross and there's bugs everywhere. And so these little boys started backing out.
Getting nervous, yeah.
And so the mom's talking to Rachel and about the boys don't want to go. And so Rachel tells Titus, hey, Titus, why don't you just send him a text message? Now, Titus is 8.
Yeah.
And so I get home from the gym the other morning, and he's at the kitchen table, and I start talking to Rachel, and Titus yells, I need everybody to be quiet. Everybody, no talking. I'm working on a text message. And I'm like, well, that's enough of that. Like that can't be how it works. I say, hey, buddy, I have an idea. You know my little office? I have a little office in the backyard. It's a barn that we've turned into, I call it my sermon shed.
Yeah.
And so I say, why don't you go into my shed and turn the light on and you write your message out there? And I'm telling you, he went out there for 20 minutes.
Oh.
And he wrote a long text message about how fun camp is and why they should go. And he hopes that they still show up. And he sends it to his friend. And 3 or 4 hours later, the mom texts Rachel, I can't believe it, that both the boys are going to want to go. She screenshoots the text Titus had sent, and they're now going to go to camp.
Yeah.
And what the mom couldn't do,
Right.
the mom, the lady who birthed them,
Right.
feeds them.
It's really good.
Washes them.
Right.
All the things a friend
Yeah.
did with his words.
Yeah.
And guess what? Titus' words weren't good. He had more typos in there than you could even imagine. But this little amount of intentionality went a long way in this little boy's life.
Really good.
And so my hope, so good job, son, but my hope is that Titus will learn to do that
All the time.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Not just his friends.
Oh, yeah, right.
But that we'll get beyond just self-focused.
Yeah.
You know? Go.
You said something that is one of the driving reasons for me. What their mom couldn't do, Titus could do.
Yes. Talk
So
about
for a long season, my middle sister, she loved God. We grew up loving God, all the things, but we all went through a hard season in life, and in college, she went through a difficult season, all the things, and just kind of wasn't going to church, wasn't like living a crazy life, but also wasn't like
didn't hate God, but hurt.
Yeah, but was hurt and wasn't really all of who, God created her to be. And I remember I loved her and encouraged her, but there's only so much I could do.
Yeah.
There's only so much I could say without ruining the relationship, without burning a bridge, without sounding like the pious older sister, whatever. Yeah. But I remember thinking, God, bring someone else to be kind to her. Bring someone else to invite her to church. Bring someone else to bring her into a mom group. Bring someone else to invite her to their house for a play date. And so I just started, this is not how God works, but I just started thinking, I will fill the tank over here so that God will do the thing for my sister over there. There's not like a thing that God does, but I was so like, God, please send someone for her, that it made me super intentional, is what I actually mean, to be that way for other people. Because I thought, you know what? This lady that I'm meeting, I bet her sister might be praying for her too, might be praying that someone come along for her. Maybe I can be the answered prayer for someone, because I'm trusting and believing that God's going to bring someone to be the answered prayer for me, for my sister. And you know what? That's exactly what happened, because I couldn't do it. I couldn't get her there. I didn't even live by her anymore. But someone else was able to be like, hey, come along. Hey, let's be friends. Hey, come to this life group with us. Hey, come to our church. That then drew them back into the life that they were called to live. And it's amazing what you said is true, that we can try so hard to get so myopically focused on our someone, but sometimes we're not the one to meet and help our someone. Someone else needs to be the one to be the someone for our someone.
You qualified it a couple times. It's not how God works. But
well, I'm saying it's not
biblical.
I know.
No, it's not. It's not like God says, if you reach 3 people, your cousin will come to Jesus.
Yes, I don't need anyone saying, Pastor Whitney said.
Right. No, and I think it's a worthy qualification. Yes. But it's kind of exactly how the body of Christ works.
It's how it works. It's how it's supposed to work.
Because if we would love one another, if we would love people that we don't even know, then the people that we can't, somebody else will be doing it.
Right.
It's a beautiful picture of the body of Christ.
Right. To go into all the world. Because
it's a sacrifice. It's like, like in the 60s or wherever, when was it 60s? America's at war, and all these people are like recycling and like doing their part to help the war efforts. They're doing they're not out shooting a gun in another country, fighting a battle, but they are.
Right.
Rosie the Riveter's over here building stuff.
Right.
so that something else can happen. And I think that the trade-off, what you're saying is true, that like we're empowering and seeing the kingdom of God, not just through our eyes, but through his eyes.
Yeah.
Because they're all important to him.
Absolutely.
He left the 99 to find the one. I think that we should be kind enough to not at 10 p.m. on a Saturday say we're not going to show up to serve on our email. And sorry, I can't be there. I stayed up too late to watch the UFC fight. I'm not coming.
Right.
So I'm not going to be there, which leaves a giant gap in your
and panic and
in your
people
church.
not being able to get their job done. Right.
Because we understand that somebody
It's really good.
is going to be served in a big way because I showed up.
It's really good. And as you're giving that analogy, I have no idea why, but I couldn't help but not also hear that phrase when we were kids from that commercial, only you can prevent forest fires.
Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah, Smokey the Bear.
Smokey the Bear. And he would come and stomp out the match because I can only affect the forest around me.
Correct.
I can only check on the forest that's in my sphere, in my circle. And so like wherever God's put you, it might not be who you were hoping to reach. It might not be who you were hoping to see, but those people, if you just take care of your circle and they take care of their circle, then we can prevent the forest fires of hell, I guess.
It's
whatever.
true. Come on. Hey, I'll preach
That'll
that.
work. That'll work.
I can think of multiple stories. And if I started telling them, I could get Whitney crying here.
Yeah, probably.
We've got people in our church right now that have their personal children far from the Lord.
Yeah, yeah.
That are not living right.
Yeah.
But they show up every week in, week out, and they serve, and they're here loving on people. And I think it's because they understand the kingdom principle.
Absolutely.
Because in God's kingdom, just because you sow in one field, he'll allow you to reap another, I think.
Yeah.
And so I think that there is some kind of equation.
I think so.
There is some kind of equation because as you're ministering over here, you're also praying for your nicks.
Yeah.
You're praying for those people in your life that they would come back into right relationship. And so I think there is a correlation.
Well, and even the whole like what you loose on earth can be loosed in heaven thing is like a real correlate. What you're saying, like I'm praying for those people, but also I'm putting my prayers into action for other people. And so I feel like God can't help but turn his ear to listen to those prayers. Enrique says the thing about the arrows in your quiver. And I think it's so good that like biblically talking about the arrows in your quiver is kind of referencing your own children, your own family. But the truth is we all have arrows, people around us that can be in our quiver that if we take the intentionality. So yeah, treat someone like they're someone, first time guest, when they show up, blah, blah, blah. But not only that, take it a deeper level, take it a next step. You know, for me, like my kids have been greatly impacted by the ministry of this church and by the people who've loved them like they were their own kids because their aunts lived far away, because their grandparents lived far away. There's other people that have taken them in as theirs. And so for me, it's a similar thing. Now for your kids, I'm like, your kids are my kids. I'm going to help Titus redirect him in a moment when he needs help or pull him in and give him a hug when he needs a hug because he doesn't like his haircut. You know, like whatever is happening, I feel like it's not just the level of like being kind the first time, but then we have to take it a step further and go, what would I want someone to do for my kid in a moment? Grab them for 10 minutes, have a real conversation, look them in the eye, actually give them some wisdom, not just, you know, hey, how are you? Blessed and highly favored. But what are we hoping that someone would do for ours? Well, then that's what I would hope they would do. You know, I'm going to do the same for them.
That's so good. The reason that you make a value is because it is established to go against something that is culturally different.
Yeah, it's really good.
So we say, treat everyone like they're your someone because naturally, other people are normally an inconvenience.
Yeah.
When I'm driving, every other car on the road is an inconvenience.
In my
to me.
way, right.
When I'm at the grocery store checking out, I hate all of these people in line in front of me.
Right.
I wish they would disappear. I was going out of Sam's the other day, and you know they got to look at your receipt and beep the stuff.
Beep, beep.
And there's like 8 people, and I'm like, all of you should just be
Get out of here.
Be banished from Earth. Why? Because they're an inconvenience to me. And so that's our natural tendency, right?
Yeah.
Is to kind of be inconvenienced by others. Oh, you're in my seat. Oh, you're in my row.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the last thing I wanted to eat. Whatever. You're inconveniencing me.
It's really good.
The value goes against that natural desire.
Yeah.
And it reminds us, treat everybody like they're your someone.
It's really good. That's good. I think
Guys, nailed it.
we did it.
Okay.
I think we talked about it.
So if you have any questions about that, hit us up. We would love to respond. Would
Yep.
love to hear what your thoughts are. What's up? That's it?
That's it. I don't know.
Guys, pray for us. We're getting ready to go to camp soon. Camp food, camp beds, camp air conditioning,
Camp showers,
camp showers,
camp water. There's so many things.
camp stuff. So
Yeah.
be praying for us, but it's going to be super fun.
Yeah. And it's further south, which means more humidity.
Oof. Yeah, bugs.
Ugh, yeah. And apparently a zip line that'll get you.
But hey, G's about to show up and do
That's
some great
true,
stuff.
that's
I can't
true.
wait to share those stories here.
Yeah, it'll be super fun.
Love you
y'all.
guys. See ya.